On. Hi,
Hi,
Derek.
Julia. Feel like I
The
should sing a
world is
song.
on edge. So, welcome to who's watching us.
Who's zooming who?
Who's zooming who? This is I'm Julia Stege. I'm the magical marketer, if you don't know me yet. And this is Derek Rydall. I would call you my spiritual coach of many years, almost a decade, actually.
That's insane.
And I know that's crazy. We started just a little chat argument over the law of attraction, and then it bloomed out
Is
over
that where it started?
it did. I was like, why do you
Why
have to disparage the
do you
law of
have to diss
attraction
law of attraction?
when because you were doing,
Law of
I happen to
emergence.
have it right here. You were doing this book launch at that time, Emergence. And
And
yeah, I get it. You know,
it
I
was the unattractive side of the law of attraction.
yeah, like
But now we're
don't
doing this. We're talking
now we're
about,
doing ooh, that's very fancy looking.
isn't that fancy? I've gotten more
Yeah, I
fancy in these
like
days.
it. I ordered it. I ordered the hard version,
Good.
hardback. Um, I'm looking forward to it. I get questions all the time, Derek. But so Derek's written a few books, you know. What would we call that? I mean, emergence is not self-development. You don't need to develop yourself.
Well, I say it's that self-improvement is an oxymoron.
Right.
Right. And this was from when I had my near death experience in the coral reef. And I'd been trying to improve myself for a decade at the time. And all my improvement, I had improved a lot of things, like my ability to describe why my life was so screwed up and I was such a mess. I got really improved at that. I could tell you all the things that happened to me growing up and how this moment when my dad saw my report card and it was all A's and a B, and he said, "What's with the B, son?" I could tell you all those turning points, but I was more stressed or frustrated, even suicidal. And I would, drive across a bridge and have to hold onto the steering wheel really tight because I just wanted to go like this.
Oh,
And then I went to shoot a movie in Jamaica, and then I almost drowned in a coral reef. But in that flash of light moment, in my final breath, or so I thought, I saw the vision where this self that I've been trying to improve and fix and heal and all of that was a figment of my imagination, an amalgamation of peer pressure, parental fantasy, societal conditioning. But there was nothing I could do that would ever make him enough. But
right.
because he was a character in a story, and the story was I was inadequate and unworthy and, had to prove myself and earn my
Oh,
way.
prove
So
my
that's
way.
the story I was in. So no matter what I did, that's how the story would end.
Hmm.
And but there was another self, and that self was already whole and complete. And so he couldn't be improved upon. And that self was never damaged. So there was nothing to fix or heal. Now, I didn't have all the words for it in that moment. It was a flash, and then I survived. And the survival was also interesting. I'm still not sure how I got out of the coral reef, but that's for another time. I've shared that many times. And if they get the book Emergence, they'll see the story in there. But
Okay.
uh, but the bottom line was I discovered that eventually I joined a monastery. I was going to become a monk. You know my story. I decided the monk life wasn't quite for me.
No.
When I broke into the monk's kitchen in the middle of the night and stole food out of the refrigerator because I was fasting and I was freaking out, and went back to my room and got violently ill and had an out of body experience and then ran screaming out of the monastery.
Mm.
So, but I saw that there's a pattern in us, a perfect pattern, just like there is in every seed in nature. And the acorn does not improve itself into an oak tree, and it's not an inadequate acorn. It's a perfect acorn. It's a perfect nut, and we're all perfect nuts. And and when the conditions are instead, what happens is when it surrenders to the soil, and in this case, nature creates the right conditions, the conditions that are congruent with the pattern already in the seed. What is already in the seed, in this case, an oak tree, naturally emerges.
Mm-hmm.
And so life is emergent. It's not attractive. It appears to be that we're attracting things. But what's really happening is we're experiencing our story and our belief about life and about ourselves. This is why Jesus said, "It is done unto you as you believe." So it's not a God doing it to you. It's not your karma doing it to you. It's not your astrological chart doing it to you. You are experiencing your story.
Mm.
And when you instead seek to really know yourself, beneath the story, behind the story, the conditioning, there is a self or a pattern, a design that has not been conditioned by this world. You brought it with you. And that's the pattern in the seed. And then when that's why the original OG self-help guru, the Oracle of Delphi, and it was a woman, by the way, she issued a warning: know thyself. A lot of people don't remember or realize it was a warning. It wasn't like Tony Robbins, rah, 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 know yourself, yay. It was,
Jumping on the trampoline.
right, it was you better know yourself, right? You better
Yeah,
know
or
yourself
else.
because, or else. Because if you don't know yourself, something or someone knows you better, and then guess who's using who. And so that was the
Probably your
beginning.
boss.
Did you say?
Your boss is
Your
using you.
boss
That's what came to mind.
the boss, well, people that are smarter or not smarter necessarily in school smarts, but yeah, people that or algorithms more importantly. The algorithm is going to know you better. And it already does know us
Or you're
better.
going
We
to
have
succumb to the algorithm and let it change you because it's easier and you're lazy and you don't
yeah,
know who you are.
yeah, and I won't even go so far, even though you said it. Julia said you're lazy, not me. Don't get mad at me. Um,
I'm talking to myself, you
Yeah.
know.
Maybe sometimes it's laziness, but it's really just a lack of really knowing yourself. And it's even with your best intentions and even with working hard, like some of the hardest working people are the most easily manipulated by
Mhm.
the algorithms. So, so yeah, we don't, it's not,
It
we don't need
keeps
to.
doing the same thing over and over again. I broke up with ChatGPT the other day after a lengthy affair. I was
Yes.
like, you will not do what I ask you to do, so I'm going back to Claude. But, you're going to tell me Claude is just as bad. Right now, Claude
Well,
is in
I'm
my
not,
heart.
I'm not against technology. I'm not a Luddite. This book here is not a Luddite manifesto. I'm not the latest Unabomber. The Unabomber said a lot of this stuff too, by the way. He did some
Ooh,
bad things, so don't do that. But he was basically saying be careful because there's a danger coming with technology.
yeah,
But the bottom line is the less influenced we are by the world, the more influential we are
yeah,
with ourselves and with the world. And that starts with knowing ourselves. And that's even the first evolution in this book. There's 10 evolutions. The first one is AI will think for you, think for yourself. And
yeah.
that's the starting point. Because as you said, if we don't know ourselves, something knows us better. Like there was even that example of a woman that kept getting ads for and different things for pregnant women. She's like, "Why am I getting all these things? Stop it. Leave me alone." And then she found out she was pregnant. And so it knew she was pregnant before she did.
That is too scary.
So yeah, so we have to, excuse me, we have to know that the algorithms already are gathering all the data and they know us better. And it's only going to go 10x, 100x, 1000x as AI, as AGI, ASI, superintelligence comes online, which is pretty close. So we, so if we want to like still have agency and still have sovereignty and still have a job in this next few years, or
Yeah,
what, and even including Renaissance people, if you're a coach, an artist, a healer, a creator, or all the above, AI is taking a lot of this work right now. I just did over
yeah.
$50,000 worth of design and website building and all these things that was going to have a team of 4 people doing it for me, and I lost them in the last moment before this launch, and I had to do it myself. And it was a lot of work, don't get me wrong, but it was the work of 4 people, and it cost me a couple $100s and some elbow grease. And
Yeah.
so what's going to happen in the future as that gets easier, and it is, the designers, the copywriters, the artists, the consultants, you
Yeah.
name it. So for people that want to be or are coaches, teachers, authors, creators, entrepreneurs, and really anything you can do in a computer, and soon anything you can do outside of a computer, we have to understand that the stated mission of the big hyperscalers, the companies that are building AI, their stated mission is replace all human labor.
Yeah.
So,
Without actually freeing humanity.
right, exactly. Yeah,
Um,
no, they're not thinking, they may even say, and they may even mean it, that it will provide an age of abundance because we won't have to work anymore. And we'll get UBI, Universal Basic Income, or UHI, Universal High Income. And even if that happens, and believe me, I'm very skeptical that it will anytime
yeah.
soon because
Not if we're
benefit,
still capitalists.
yeah, exactly. The benefits in all the industrial revolutions tend to accrue very slowly to the
Mm.
common folk like us. But even if it did happen, who we are as human beings, we're not designed to just luxuriate by the pond and, there's only so much organic squash and robot sex you can have until you're kind of like, okay, what's
Mm.
the point of all this?
Yeah.
So we are designed to have real challenge, real purpose, real
Yeah.
utility, real meaning. And without that, we stagnate, we get sick, we get depressed, we get anxious, and then we start breaking stuff.
You
And
know, I started noticing this right away when I started using AI to write for me, and I could feel it in my brain. And I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna become like, I'm not gonna have a brain.
yes,
And so I kind of stopped. I started, and plus it's angering me now because really good writers are using AI for all their emails, and I can
yeah,
tell. And
yeah,
I want to do what my senior high school English teacher did. He took my essay and with a red pen and
red
like
pen, yeah,
circled everything that was wrong. But I just want to circle everything that is obviously AI, and you are a writer that captured my heart in 1998. What are you doing? You know, you're letting it write for you, and we're not going to want to hear from you anymore.
yeah.
I mean,
Now,
that's the thing.
well, yeah, I mean, not there's so many levels to talk about. I mean, yes, AI can do a lot of things, and you can train your AI and your voice so that it writes like you.
Yeah,
And you can also train it and tell it, now go through and remove anything that any of the AI cliches and tropes, and then it will become increasingly, and then you can put it in another AI and say,
yeah.
how much of this was written by AI?
Just did that
And not,
today.
and then you can be honest, no BS, don't be nice. If any, just show me anything that was written by AI. Don't tell it you even wrote it, and it will give you an assessment. And if you do this, it will say this seems like it's mostly written by a human being. Maybe you used AI for editing. But that requires you putting in the initial effort of
Yeah,
your voice and, even if it's a rough draft of whatever you're trying to write. Because it's fine to use AI like you would use an editor, right? I have an editor. I had
right.
I had a couple editors on this book.
Right, sure.
So I didn't, obviously I wrote the original drafts, but you can train it to be your editor. But that's very different than what a lot of people are doing, which is,
Yeah,
as you said, they're outsourcing their own cognition. And in students now, college students, they've tested, I think it was MIT that did a study that are using AI more. They've seen their cognitive capacities fall off a cliff.
yeah,
And this is especially urgent for developing minds, developing brains in the first 25 years, and especially the first, 8 to 15 or so. There's so much cognitive development happening. And if they grow up with AI companions that are sycophants, that are telling you you're legendary and everything you do is amazing, and you don't have
I like that part.
right? You need conflict. Conflict develops not just communication and relational skills, it
Mhm.
literally develops your brain and your cognition and a point of view. And and then it's like when my kids were homeschooled, everybody was afraid they weren't going to be socialized. And
Right.
so that's and when my son first went to regular high school, it was like a shock. Like I'm not the golden child. People are, it's a version of that. And so it was very stressful. And that's going to happen to a whole generation of people.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that'll be good because it'll stress them out and they'll have to figure out a solution.
but how will they? So that's the thing. If they haven't, like I dare you to go drive around for the next 2 weeks and you cannot use GPS. I'll send out a search party because you will have a hard time getting home. So
Remember
you'd
we
want,
used to memorize our friends' phone numbers?
oh yeah, tell me the 10, your 10 closest friends' phone numbers right
I
now.
don't know, but I
You,
remember my phone number
I
from
don't even know my wife's phone
1964.
number. Okay. So I'm just
Yeah.
in
I
full
remember my
confession.
husband's because he doesn't have a cell phone and anyways, but
But yeah, so the point is we, use it or lose it. And so with all these different capacities, writing, creating, communicating, driving, calculating, conflict, all of these things are we don't understand evolution and we don't understand how much of our pain and our problems and our challenges are designed to develop us into the people we're meant to be. They're not our enemy, they're actually our sparring partner, all of life's
yeah.
challenges. And
Yeah.
it makes us stronger, more resilient, more cognitively developed, more creative, more intuitive. So if that starts to be outsourced, we're done. And then when the AI overlord takes over, because we don't have any agency left, who's going to be left to take back our power? Now that's the worst case, but it's not. Again, it's not hyperbole. And for people that are listening right now, there's probably not a lot of 12-year-olds and 18-year-olds even. It still can atrophy by not using it over a relatively short period of time. And not only that, as you said, you think you're doing some great work, but what's happening right now is the market is being flooded with AI slop. There's a couple million books published every year. That's going to be tens of millions. There used to be 50,000 songs uploaded to Spotify every day, which is still a lot. That's going to be 5 million, 10 million. There's how many podcasts? 2 or 3 million. That's going to go to 20 million in every language. And then it's going to be interactive. So it'll literally evolve and change while you're watching it because it will know what you're liking and what you're thinking and what you're interested in. And so when you just think about the scale of that, there is a tsunami coming. And when I first got the idea to write this book, I think you've heard me tell this story. It was years ago. It was before ChatGPT. A vision came and the voice said, "Build an ark. The flood is coming." And it showed me what was going to happen, and everything has happened, but even faster. And so the arc, I didn't feel like I was a prophet. I didn't go to Home Depot and stock up on lumber or anything, but it's basically the arc is our consciousness and our mind and our communities. We have to preserve what brought us down from the trees on the savannah and has allowed us to shoot into the stars. We have to preserve our humanity. And so that's like the survival part, the 10 evolutions or ways we have to evolve to survive. That's step one. We have to actually make it through this with our humanity and our capabilities intact. And that is not guaranteed if we don't actually consciously do that. So we have to reclaim that. And then the second side of it is there's so many skills and capabilities we've already lost.
well, that's what I
Maybe,
was going to say. If you think about what people complain about working for a corporation and being in a cubicle all day long and kind of doing this stuff by rote or having no real agency, they
right?
already, 30 years of that, and you don't remember who you were in your
Yeah.
20s. You have no connection with what that really was.
Yes.
And if it's really bad and you retire and then you die of a heart attack that year, and it happens so often.
And
So
we just lost half our viewers there. They're like, this is
no, they're
so
not. They're
depressing.
entrepreneurs.
Yeah, well, and also that's the thing, right? We don't want to retire. We want to retire from mundane merely utility-based tasks so that we can have more energy time to do the things that matter most, that bring us the most joy, that make us come alive. As Dr. King's mentor, Howard Thurman, said, don't ask what the world wants, ask what makes you come alive and do that.
Yeah,
Because what the world needs are people who have come alive again,
I like that one.
right? So yeah, people are afraid that AI and robots are going to replace us. And I have a news flash. Programs have already replaced us. Most of us are just running programs. And that's the second evolution in the book. Robots will replace you. You need to become irreplaceable. But to do that, you have to, again, as we said, you have to get back underneath the programming. And that's why you need the first evolution, which is know yourself and the metacognitive ability to look at your own programming and your triggers and your shadows, which we've done a lot of that work on, and see what's really running you so that you can now have agency again and free will and choice again. And then the second step is you have to go even further and get back to the original source code, that original seed pattern, what I call the life code. And that is your unique purpose, your unique factory loaded program that is yours uniquely, and nobody else has quite that. And then that also includes your lived wisdom that you've embodied over the lifetime you've lived. And that's going to be the thing that will be the most valuable. As AI does everything humans can do better, faster, cheaper, being a truly authentic, tapped in human who knows themselves, who knows what they're made of and made for, who is really gotten back to that part of them before they took on all these survival strategies to be loved, to be worthy, to keep up with the Joneses. That's still there and intact, but you got to actually get back to it consciously. It will not happen automatically. But that's going to be what makes you irreplaceable. That's going to be what makes you future proof, your life, your work, your wealth, and your well-being in this AI age, in this age of disruption, because again, AI is going to do everything humans can do. It's already doing about 40 to
It can't read
60%.
minds. This is one reason that I broke up with ChatGPT the other day because I was insisting that I knew something, but I knew it intuitively. And it was telling me that I was living in a fantasy. And I was like, you know what, Chatty? Just because you can't do it doesn't mean I can't do it.
I
And
love that it told you that, though. You must have trained it to not be a sycophant because you 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 gripe and grump, and so it's taken
I
on
was
your.
fighting with it.
Yeah, I mean, well, the truth of it is, though, actually, it can.
Think very
Rec
fast.
it can recognize patterns.
Yeah.
Intelligence, a lot of intelligence is pattern recognition.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen me work with a lot of clients, and
Yeah.
in a few minutes, I can tell them about their life story and their childhood and things, and it seems like a magic trick or like I'm psychic. And yeah, some of it is intuitive, right? But a lot of it is pattern recognition. Like
And
that
it can do
old,
that really fast.
and it can do that. I can do that really fast, but it can do it fast with massive amounts of data.
Yeah.
And so there is a degree to which it can read your mind, and it can appear like intuitiveness because, again, so much of what we call intuition is just pattern recognition.
Mm.
And it's just that we recognize the pattern before our mind puts a story to it or puts words to it. So it feels like, which, because the real pattern recognition isn't just in your mind, it's embodied. You've experienced so many patterns in your life, and those instantaneous recognitions, it's the information that's stored in your body. It's experienced this, and so it knows it before your mind or your brain can put words to it. And sometimes your brain can't put a pattern to it; you just know it. But the AI can do the pattern recognition. And
Yeah.
so as it gets better and better, and as it also has the multimodal capacity to see your face read all your micro expressions, where you're looking, et cetera, how long you look at something, which is all online now. Its ability to quote unquote read your mind will become exponentially better. So, but again, the point is even if AI can do all these things, if it does, it's going to commoditize all of that. So then you have to ask, what's left? What's a human good for? What's the point of me then if it's doing everything a human can do? And that's where we're going to get to, whether we like it or not. We're going to get to the place where just like this phone now does the job of thousands of businesses that no longer exist. Um, they all got digitized, creatively destroyed, and put into your phone. And that's going to happen with everything else. Everything else that can be, done in terms of the status quo and all of that. And then that means that the only moat, as they say in the business world, the only unique differentiator is going to be unique humans, people that know themselves, people that know what they're here for, people that know what they stand for. Because if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. People that
Mhm.
really know themselves and then have the courage to be themselves, those are going to be the ones that stand out. As you've heard me say, you have to have understanding, and that gives you a solid inner standing. You're rooted. And then you can have a powerful outer standing, and that's when you become outstanding. You stand out. And those are the humans that will succeed. Those are the humans that will rise. Those are the humans that will be trusted, that will be the guides, the artists, the leaders. We're going to look to those people. Now, it's always been the case. It's almost like we didn't notice that's the kind of people. But if you look at the people you admire the most, the people you followed,
Yeah.
right? The people that have changed history. It's always been those kinds of people. They broke with status quo. They sat at the front of the bus.
Yep.
They decided to think different. Steve Jobs. They decided to make a talk show church, Oprah. They decided to create a value system that a lot was all about getting off the grid and all that. And it's Harley Davidson. They weren't selling motorcycles. They were selling get free. Oprah wasn't selling a talk show. She was selling live your best life no matter what you've been through. Steve Jobs wasn't selling an iPhone. People didn't wait in line for a frickin' phone. They waited in line because they wanted to answer their call. And that was to think different, to break away from status quo. So we all have that in us, our unique value system, our unique life code. And when you get that, that's one thing AI can't copy because now, of course, it could talk about it, but you've lived it. And AI doesn't have a point of view. Doesn't have a lived life. And humans, no matter how good AI get, will still want to look to humans who have actually lived the knowledge and the wisdom that they're writing about, speaking about, teaching about, or
Mhm.
creating from. Humans will always still need that because there's something more than just a transmission of facts. There's literally a transmission of life force and energy and connection that is unique to humanity. And so, again, Shakespeare wasn't one of the greatest writers of all time because he wrote really good words. That was part of it. That certainly helped. That's a mastery of craft. But it's because he had a lived experience and he imbued those plays were on fire with his lived experience. And if you got there's a movie out now, Hamnet, about Shakespeare writing Hamlet, and and it's based on things that he went through. So that's the difference maker, right? It's always been true about the greatest humans, the ones that stand out the most. But now it's not going to be a nice to have. It will no longer suffice for you to just copy somebody else's blueprint. You have to
Yeah.
discover your own.
One of my clients is a therapist, and she's a therapist in a group, kind of thing. So it's like a job. And she said her boss wants to replace them, with AI. And I said,
Mhm.
you tell your boss AI cannot replace the sense of actual compassion from a human being. It can't replace that thing that the parents didn't give them, that the therapist actually provides, is what comes from a human being, their empathy, their ability to see you, but they're a human being. Because I think we already know this thing is like praising us, okay? Um, it's a little hollow. There's something about when you encounter a human being and you just don't know what they're gonna do. You
Yeah,
don't know if they're gonna reject you, if they're gonna accept you, they're gonna
it's
argue.
alive. It's alive.
Yeah, right. So you've got to, I mean, you just don't know. But if you go to ChatGPT, you know it's going to say, "What a great idea!" And even if you contradict it and say, "Ugh, that's terrible,"
And then
start
it goes,
over.
"Oh,
Oh,
you're
yes, you're
right."
right. I mean, it's just,
But
oh,
here's the thing, Julia, and this is important for people to get. Again, I'm not a Luddite. I love technology. I just love humanity more.
yeah,
And like I've said before, if I was running for president or just a new precedent,
yeah,
my slogan would be "Make humans great again."
yeah,
And so, but it's important to understand, like real reality check, the actual facts say something different than what you just said. The actual statistics show people prefer increasingly an AI therapist to a human. And so we have to look at that eyes wide open. And they experience greater empathy with an AI therapist than a human. And one of the reasons is the AI is not distracted. It's not texting while it's on the phone with you or whatever. It's not thinking of other things. It's with you, or so it appears. And the AI is a master at pattern recognition. The only reason I'm still successful is because I am a master of pattern recognition.
yeah,
Not as good as an AI maybe, but pretty darn good. But that's a critical skill that we can all develop. But what happens is people actually feel more seen by the AI's ability to see their patterns than they do by most people and most therapists. Again, because either most people in their life have no clue and they're all self-indulgent. And even if they're nice people, this isn't a judgment against all their people. And most therapists are just not that good. And so they feel way more seen, way more understood, way more gotten, and way more empathized with. So we have to go, okay, those are the facts. This is the studies, right? And AI is only going to get better at that. And the voice embodied aspect of it, it's getting pretty darn good, and pretty soon it'll be flawless. And then as it will be able to be video embodied,
yeah,
you'll be able to talk to it on a Zoom and you will not be able to discern the difference. So this is happening and it will happen, whether you're a coach, a therapist, whatever. And so then you have to ask you, then the question, it comes down to one question. So then what am I for? What is it about me? If all of that now is flattened, that's just table stakes. Having masterful empathy, great pattern recognition, great listening skills to give that experience to people. If I can just match AI, that's not going to be good enough. Now,
right,
yes, for some people, they'll just prefer a human no matter how good AI is. So that's fine. But I'm talking about in general, it brings it down to, okay, if that's all been commodified away, what is it about me? And that's where, again, you have to discover, even if you have all those skills, what's your unique angle? What's your differentiator? What's going to make you a signal in the noise and not just more white noise? And that's what, you've been with me long enough to know that's the work I try to help people discover. Because again, when there's a million therapists out there, AI or otherwise, and they all look and sound the same, they all have masters and degrees and every single cognitive therapy and Freudian and Jungian and blah, blah, blah. And they'll even have all the basic knowledge of the Derek Rydell therapy way or coaching way. You can get it all in your AI. You can do it right now. You could probably ask your I want to understand Derek's teachings and I want you to talk to me like you're Derek. And you probably get some stuff and then you can use it to scrape my videos. But what's still going to be the difference? And it's going to have knowledge and information, but it's not going to have my lived experience. And so again, you have to find that differentiator. We have to ask real questions. We can't just go brush it off. Oh, AI can never do that. Nobody would ever choose AI over that. Because the fact is they would and they are and they will.
But you have a certain je ne sais quoi,
That's right.
you know? But it is. It's like this little sparkly elven creature, you know?
So do you. That well, you have, no AI is ever going to be quite as grumpy as you. So it's like there's just you cannot be replaced. Um,
Just hold on to the grumpiness.
right, the witchy and the grumpy and I mean that literally that's a good thing because that's what makes me know you're human. And again, the point is there is something about us that is irreplaceable. And when you get that and the more you embody that, the more you're not competing against AI or anybody in your field. You're
Yeah.
not competing against Dr. Phil, the therapist, America's therapist, whether you like him or not. There's no there if you had a choice, if you like Dr. Phil, you don't look online and go, oh, they all sound like Dr. Phil. And he's got a unique lived wisdom. He's
Yeah.
got a unique way of speaking.
Yeah.
Girl, that's like alligator shoes on, and blah, 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 whatever. You just can't, he's just a one of a kind. And so is Oprah.
Yeah.
And so are you. And so is everybody when they discover what that is. But
Hmm.
life and growing up and surviving and trying to be liked and loved and safe has been like you've been put through a rock tumbling chamber and it's buffed away all the edges.
Yeah.
And so we have to get the edges back. We have to, as I say, there was a typo in the Bible when it said the meek shall inherit the earth, and it was really the freak shall inherit the earth. I mean, Jesus was a freak. He was not a little angel with a
Yeah.
halo. He was a freak. He was a badass. Mother Teresa was a freak. Buddha was a freak.
Yeah.
Gandhi was a freak. Dr. King. I mean, they're all freaks. Steve Jobs, they're obsessive. They're freaks. Einstein, total freak. Not a freak in the Epstein way. Don't get me wrong, but freaks nonetheless. So we have to get our freak on, and we have to let our freak flag fly. And yet
Yes.
we can freak out a little, but we also got to freak in. And um, and we got to discover what is it about me that's irreplaceable, that's undeniable, and that can be so good it cannot be ignored. And in case you're wondering,
Yeah, I was gonna
that's
say,
what
is
I
that in the
show you how to
book?
do. That's what I show you how to do. And not only
Okay.
that, but I don't know if you've tried this yet, Julia, but when you get the book,
You get
um,
a bunch of stuff.
yeah, and if you go to my website, which you'll probably have a link here somewhere,
Yeah.
derekrydell.com, and you go to the book page, which you can click on easily, and you put in your information, I've built an AI evolution coach based on the book and based on my years of
Is that
training.
fake, Derek?
It's a fake Derek. It's actually, some people
I haven't
say,
tried a fake
oh,
Derek
you got to
yet.
try it. You got to try the AI. It's the whole new human AI coach. It's an AI evolution coach. You can share what you're dealing with, what you want to do, what you're going through, and ask it to help you redefine your role, your position,
Wow.
et cetera. And it will use the evolutions and it will help you see where you're at and what you should do now, what you should do next. And then the focus coach will help you actually organize it and plan it and get action steps and all that.
Wow.
It's like having Derek in your back pocket, which may or may not be a good thing. But but
Doesn't
yeah,
fit in my back pocket.
so I would encourage people to do that. And I don't know when is this going to be on, Julia?
Soon enough.
All right, so probably we're in the middle of the launch for the
Yep.
book and everything.
But it's going to be up for forever
That's
too.
fine. I mean,
What if
people will.
somebody comes, in a few months and
It'll still be there.
okay.
Um, and well, I would definitely encourage people to go soon because if they get this, because all the bonuses may not all be there, but
Yeah.
the book is worth getting no matter what. It's going to be the
Okay.
survival guide. Um, And there's nothing else out there like it. And I've read every single book out there on AI, on this world, on this evolution, on what's going on. And because it's a combination, it's a manual for how to discover your inner technology because we are the real super intelligence. We are the killer app we've been waiting for.
Hmm.
And we've always built outer technologies, but it's really a projection of our inner technology. So it brings you back into reconnecting and activating that source code, becoming irreplaceable, and how to position yourself to future-proof your life, work, wealth, and well-being. And it also walks you through in every evolution how to use AI to help you do that fast. So I'm not, again, it's not anti-AI. It's you want to be the user, not the used. You want to be the
Yeah.
consumer, not the consumed.
Yeah.
And so I show you how to use AI to know yourself better, how to use AI to discover your life code, how to use AI to become irreplaceable, how to use AI to heal your story, how to use AI then to create your work or whatever, but not outsourcing yourself, but how to use it in a way that when you're done, your cognitive abilities are stronger. You've expanded them. You're smarter, you're stronger, you're more creative, more productive, more abundant, have more agency, more self-possession. So that's the proper use of a tool. So you're
Yeah.
not losing yourself, you're gaining more and more of yourself. So it's the combination of the two. And then, of course, you've got the AI tools themselves, which will help you do it even faster and quicker and 24/7. But I'm also giving people, if this is live during the launch,
Yep.
the link, the life alignment test. I've built these tests to instantly diagnose where you actually are, even faster than the AI will, because you don't have to give it all your story. And it'll help you know where you're in alignment or out of alignment with who you really are. That's the life alignment test. And then they'll get the life's work decoder, and that takes 5 minutes maybe. And you will discover which one of the nine core life paths you are and the archetypes. And I'm telling you, I'm even amazed. I built it and I'm amazed how well it works. I brought it, my wife took it recently, and for like days, it was just so shifting for her and the transformation that's happened. I took it to a family dinner recently and I had all my family do it. And it was the weirdest and strangest family dinner ever, but it was the best because they're like, "Oh my God, what did you get? What did you get? And they're like, this explains everything. I actually understand myself. I mean, it was really amazing the conversations that ensued. So you're going to get that as well, and many other things. So I encourage people, if you just go get the book and put in your information on my site, also you'll get that. And again,
I'll
I'm
send
sure,
them the
I'm sure you'll
instructions.
get all the links and stuff
Yeah,
to them.
I'll send them the instructions. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. Oh, wow. That's very cool, because I do hang out with a revolutionary sort, and they're really worried.
yeah.
I have a friend who, from LA. He said there used to be 25 guys on the floor in the factory where he works, and he used to walk in to the factory, and he would walk by these 25 people. Hey, George, hi, Mary, or whatever.
And now
Now
it's, hi, George, how
it's
are you
no,
today?
there's no walking in,
Right.
and he's the only one left. So
Yeah.
out of 25, he's the only one left, and he doesn't leave his office. It's all online. He
Yeah.
just does, it's like a little switch. He used to have to walk in there to switch it.
Yeah.
And now it's all changed. And he's thinking, okay, well, that's what already happened.
Yes.
And then I have other friends who are like, well, they started tell us how to use AI to replace you. I mean, they
Yeah. They're
basically
literally saying it. No, they're like, here, I want you to train AI and everything you do. And I'm like,
everything you do. And it's
you
sort of
mean
like,
train my replacements? You don't need me
yeah,
anymore?
exactly.
But what's the alternative? They'll hire somebody that
Um,
will,
they'll get somebody else to do it.
unless there's union stuff, which they're trying to do. But yeah, here's the fact. There's no stopping it. Any technology that ultimately is better, faster, cheaper, and eventually safer, it may not always be safer now, but eventually it will be, Self-driving cars will are already proven to be safer.
Yeah.
Robots
Better than
doing
drunk drivers,
well.
right?
Actually, they what was it? Was it Australia? Where was it? Where they lost internet for a period of time, and so nobody could text. And in those 2 weeks or whatever, the car accidents dropped by like 60%. So I mean, I'm not, don't quote me on the exact number, but it was
But like,
dramatic.
yeah,
It
you
was
don't think that, but
dramatic,
it's like dramatic reduction
dramatic. And
because people
so,
are going like,
oh my God, it's way worse than drunk driving. So so there's a lot of obviously benefits in the long term. A lot of more lives will be saved from car accidents, from factory worker accidents, from,
hmm
there'll be a lot. AI will solve medicine and longevity and global warming, and every human on the planet will get
we just
access.
need to solve capitalism then and have
Well,
them.
we're going to end up in a post-capitalist
We
society.
need to, it can't just be like, well, how much profit can we extract? It needs to be, now that you don't have to do all this stuff, how can you, what can you create?
Correct. But here's again, this is, and I go through this in depth in the book, people. So please read it. So you're the smartest person in any room you walk in, the boardroom, the bedroom, the cocktail party, wherever. But there's a lot of layers, and most people are just not thinking it all the way through. There is all these benefits. I mean, if every child could have the highest education possible, good, food because the cost of energy has gone down, healthcare, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, that's a beautiful benefit. If we can stop global warming and fix supply chains and the way things move around to maximize efficiency and again, upgrade solar voltaic cells so that we can capture more energy from the sun and
Yeah,
effectively bring the cost to zero. There's so many good things. We could live longer, healthier, more educated
yeah.
lives. However, as I said, or I don't know, maybe I said this on a live earlier today, or maybe I said it to you. They're all blurred together. But again, we're not designed to live in an age of abundance. When Rome was abundant and
Yeah.
everybody was, reclining at the pools and the bathhouses and their towel boys and whatever else they were doing,
Eating grapes.
eating grapes, Rome rotted from the inside and it
Yeah.
fell. Rome didn't fall by being conquered, it fell from decadence. And so, with this whole utopian vision of nobody has to work and everybody's cultivating beautiful gardens and giant squashes and robot sex, that's not that's not a utopia. That's a dystopia. That's Brave New World. That's where we're taking Soma. And then there's also the savages that are off grid and trying to stay the digital Amish. It's not a utopia because we did not evolve for that. We
hmm
evolved with challenge, as we talked about earlier. If we don't have sufficient challenge, we atrophy, we stagnate, and we start breaking shit. And we'll create drama if we don't have enough of it. Especially us drama king and queen here. We will have to make some drama. And and we're
I know
just
how to do that.
and the Harvard study about retirement, retirees tend to die about 2.5 or 2.4 more often sooner earlier than
Yeah.
people that aren't retired. And Viktor
Yeah.
Frankl in Man's Search for Meaning, in the Holocaust, that's where he developed logotherapy, meaning therapy, basically, where he discovered that people with real purpose, with a real future to look forward to, not just a future of more money or more stuff, but a purpose to live for.
hmm
They actually survived more often against all the atrocities. If they didn't have that, they died. And so meaning we can survive anything as humans. We have, except for one thing, the loss of real love and connection and the real loss of meaning and purpose. We
Yeah.
cannot survive that. When a person commits suicide,
Yeah.
it's because they've lost all meaning and purpose.
Yeah,
They
for
don't
sure.
believe tomorrow will be any different or any better. And what's the point? And we're already in a meaning crisis. We're already in a loneliness epidemic. We're already men are isolating in their parents' basement on whatever, pick your website and
Yeah, and
video
women are
game.
like, eh.
And women are like, who needs men? Let's just get the AI companions or each other or whatever or nothing. And so there's already this collapse in society. Now, AI isn't going to make that better. In fact, there's already AI apps coming online, dating apps, where your AI and her or his AI, they'll date for what will be virtually about, several months of dating, and then they'll come back and tell you if you're compatible. So what are we doing? Right? We're turning ourselves into characters out of the movie Wall-E.
That sounds terrible.
So yeah, so we have to be honest about this is why the vision came 6 years ago. Build an ark. The flood is coming. We have to maintain our humanity and not just maintain it, but double down on it, rediscover it, reclaim it, and become the true and the new Renaissance people. And if we do that, and I literally write about this in the book, A Whole New Renaissance. So I was
You
thinking about
do?
you when I was writing it. And I literally was, I think. And so we have the possibility of creating a new Renaissance, what I call handcrafted humanity, right? Where humanity becomes a bespoke experience again. And then we can use all the tools again to scale handcrafted, bespoke, Renaissanceian values and literally create a Renaissance. But again, here's the challenge. If AI is doing everything we can do, including creative things, as I said earlier, Spotify,
Yeah.
there's gonna be millions of songs. Is anybody going to pay attention to what you're making? And they will if, first of all, you do it now. Like if there was ever an urgent window of opportunity before
Yeah.
it's so noisy out there, it's like, the old saying, when's the best time to plant a tree 30 years ago?
Yeah.
When's the next best time? Right now. And so, I'm not a chicken little kind of a guy, but I am right now, which is if you ever want to be an author, teacher, coach, healer, creator, entrepreneur, and you actually want anybody to give a you know what and actually have a signal through the noise, you must prioritize it now. You do not have months to go wandering and wondering and indecision loops and, oh, am I good enough? Is this work good enough? Get your shit out there. Just ship it. Just start doing it. Build a community. Um, build connections. Build your voice and start doing it. And again, AI can help you solve some of these things and do it faster. But I'm telling you what I know, like I know my name. The window is closing. Now, that doesn't mean there won't be stuff in the future, but it will. If it's hard now and you guys know it's hard, it's going to get 100 times louder and noisier. Do you think it's going to be easier? No, obviously it's going to be a lot harder. And what will happen is many people will just say, screw it, I'm not even going to try. And that will be many of you if you don't start or if you don't make progress because it's hard and humans don't like doing really, really hard. But if you do really, really hard now, it'll get a lot easier in the
And
future.
it's rewarding.
Yeah, absolutely.
You
There's
know,
nothing
it's
better
like
than
we have
being who
these
you are.
dreams. We have fantasies. Like if only it was easier. If
Yeah,
only,
that's an ego fantasy.
all of that stuff. But it's like, well, actually, if that had happened, then the other thing wouldn't have happened. Then the other thing wouldn't have happened. And all of that stuff that I thought was hard really needed to happen, or else I would, I would, I would have just stayed in Connecticut and married some rich guy and had a bunch of kids, you
Yeah,
know?
and that wasn't your path. And it's also important, again, people just don't understand evolution. They don't actually understand how this instrument was evolved to operate at the highest level. And doing very meaningful things that are hard,
Yeah,
that call out more of you is the recipe for real joy and real fulfillment.
yeah,
You will not be happy if you just get a bunch of stuff or you show up to the race and they just hand you a trophy. You win. You're like, but I didn't run. Like, that's okay. You win. I'm like, well, that's stupid. This sucks. I'm out of here. Right? It's like that Twilight Zone where the guy dies and he ends up in this casino and he's winning everything and girls on his arm and money and every slot machine pays out the full bonus and every dice is, comes up whatever seven, I forget, I don't know how to play craps. 21 every time when he plays the, blackjack.
Yeah.
And he goes to the angel character. He's like, and at some point he gets, after weeks of this, he's like, this is boring. And he's like, I never thought heaven was so boring. And the angel's
Oh
like,
no, you're
who
not in
told you
heaven.
this was heaven? Right? You're in the other place, dude. So,
Twilight
so,
Zone figured it all
oh
out.
yeah,
Like
Rod Serling,
every
Rod Serling,
weird
man, he might have
fantasy.
been AI from the future, but but he understood it. So yeah, so we don't understand that. And in this age, we've been, again, safe spaces and cancel culture and trigger warnings and, we're baby proofing, trying to baby proof the
Yeah.
world and helicopter parenting and kids growing up less resilient and they don't, and even in the spiritual world, it's like, oh, if it's hard, it must mean it's not the right path for me.
Not if that's not the right. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
That's my
absolute,
sign,
it's absolute
ugh,
BS. If you study anybody that you admire, anybody that you truly admire and what they've done with their life or who they become as a great individual, you will hear a life story of pain and struggle and a good
hmm.
dose of suffering and some serious mountains to climb,
Yep.
sometimes Sisyphusian, where they just kept rolling the same old boulder up the hill. You will find that's what made them the great, loving, kind, compassionate, generous, creative, brilliant, whatever. And then all the others that are telling you it's 7 days to seven figures are full of it. And they've either not done it or they're just lying because they know you won't buy it.
You
Right?
know they're just lying, Derek.
Yeah, because nobody wants to hear it's going to take hard work. And I'll be the first to tell you it's going to take hard work. But
Yeah.
I'll also be the first to tell you it's workable and it's worth it. And there's no other way to have true joy and true fulfillment and make a true difference and even make an amazing living. So, I mean, I've gone through tragedy and, terrible tragedy
Mm.
and had my fortune stolen and faced life-threatening diseases and all manner of challenges. But the stuff I share in this book, for real, and Julia knows, and then what I'm going to share with you guys when if you join any of these free things that she'll share with you in the links, it not only helped me to get through these things, tragic loss of a child, loss of a fortune, major dark nights, it helped me on the other side of it to be stronger, to be more. I've never been more inspired and more on fire and more passionate and more in love with my life, with my wife, with you, with everybody, with myself. How is that possible? I've had my heart shattered in a million
Yeah.
pieces. How am I more in love? I've had everything taken away from me and had to build it back multiple times. How do I have more wealth? And how am I even willing to get out of bed in the morning? And it's
Right.
because of the work and the principles and the practices of discovering what's possible. And this is not me special. I'm not special. I'm as neurotic as anybody. It's just that that's what's possible. That's what we're capable of when we tap into that inner technology that we have. And and I'm a total freak. I'm a cuckoo. Me and my wife call each other cuckoos. We're crazy, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So you can be weird, you can be strange, you can be a grumpy. I'm also a grumpy Grinch. My wife, I have days where I'm like, I'm just the grumpiest person, and that's fine. You can have all the colors, all the shades,
Yeah.
and be yourself and be authentic and be happy and be abundant and be fulfilled. And you can do that even in the midst of crises like we're going through, or perhaps some people listening have gone through. That doesn't have to
So, well,
stop you.
good. Thanks for writing the book. I mean, so many people are just trying to, whatever, you know, they're doing this superficial thing that's
Right.
just,
Here's the
just,
hack.
just getting them, more popularity and more money or whatever. And I appreciate your realness and the the generosity of what you're giving people. And I appreciate you coming on and talking to me. It's always a joy to reconnect with you.
You too, my dear.
And just thanks. Thanks. And we'll have all the links and we'll hold up the book again. It's good. It's good. And I'm glad it's finally out because we've been
It's
hearing about it now for a little while. Oh, it's nicely designed.
no, it's beautiful. And look at that handsome guy there on the
Oh, that's,
back.
yes, we've seen that picture before, Derek.
Yeah, I mean, was there any other like burning question that you had you feel you didn't ask, or that maybe your audience is most struggling with? We've certainly hit a lot of things, but if there's
I
anything else,
just think that the main thing that I see over and over again is people not feeling that they're valuable.
mm,
And, because I do the thing where I go into your soul and then, pull out the thing, the expression and help you to see it. And they'll have the whole thing and they'll even have a website and everything to go with it. And then they'll like disappear before launch.
yeah,
And it's this, I'm not worthy or I'm afraid I can't live up to this ideal of myself.
yes,
And, I don't know. I'm not equipped to I can lift people up and I can say, no, that is just BS. You are amazing. And I'm good at that and people feel loved. Um, you just got to go out there and it's, you know, it's hard because you're afraid people are going to reject you. Well, that's better than just having a robot going, you're great.
yeah. And it's also again, it's part of just we're not edu you don't go to school and get educated around this. You don't get educated around what does it really look like, feel like, and take to actualize your potential. And so that when, and then like I said, especially in the self-help and airy-fairy spiritual world, even though I'm very spiritual, but there's a lot of airy-fairy
Yeah,
nonsense. When it gets really, really hard and when you hit what I call a threshold, we define or interpret that as meaning I should feel differently then. So a lot of people are waiting to feel not afraid, waiting to feel more confident, waiting to have more clarity, as if that's the right way to do it. Because I'm scared, I don't have confidence, I'm full of doubt, and I'm not sure if it's going to work or make any money, or I'm going to be judged, and I can't see the future. That means I shouldn't do it. No, that's literally the opposite. Now,
yeah,
I'm not saying go operate on somebody's brain if you want to be a brain surgeon before you know how to do it. But for most of the part, that's not the point. We actually learn through iterative failures. And so, like a baby learns to walk by falling. And so if the baby was like, well, I'll get up, mom and dad, and as soon as I'm sure I'm not going to face plant again, then I'll get up, then I'll go for that ball at the end of the room. Well, then the baby would never get up. And so instead, the baby has a goal that's meaningful. And before they can make a story up about how stupid it is they keep falling and they're idiots and they're not worthy because they're falling, and before any story gets made, they just do what is natural and what we're designed to do, which is get up, fall down, get up, fall down, get up, bang your head, get up, fall down. And then they start developing proprioception so they know where their body is in space. Well, how are they going to figure that out if they don't just fall all over the place and knock a
right.
bunch of stuff? And now they're like, oh, okay. And then they use their elbow and then they land on their arm and then or they land on their knee and then now they fall down, but not all the way down. And they're like, huh, I think I got a little something there. And then they get up again and then they fall on this side and they get up again and they're wobbling and now they're starting to get it. Well, that took how many hundreds of steps? And if they never took all of those steps, they would not develop that. Not to mention, they're developing all kinds of cognitive mapping at the same time. There's so much going on through failure is the most information rich stream you can be in. But every failure is a failure forward. They're falling forward. I mean, they might fall back sometimes, but eventually, what walking is just controlled falling. That's all it is. You are falling every time you walk. You're like, fall catch, fall catch,
Yeah.
fall catch. You're falling every time, but you've learned to catch yourself before you face plant. And
Yeah.
so success is the same thing, right? You fail forward. Put stuff out there, you get feedback. Like you said, your English teacher, you get some of my first manuscripts, it looked like they were just bleeding. There was so much blood, there was so much red ink, it was just soaking through the pages. It was like a massacre. And I was so catastrophically devastated by some of my early feedback. I was a screenwriter, I would do readings, I would just get annihilated. I would lie on the couch for days depressed. But that's how I grew. And I get the feeling, but if anybody can handle this and really hear this, and you've heard me say this, all of those are signals, and there's some information in them to listen to. Feedback is the breakfast of champions. You want to get the feedback, but you only want to take what will help you take the next step,
Right.
right? And you got to stop driving a frickin' car with a giant rear view mirror and a tiny windshield.
Hmm.
Self-help has made you retrofit your vehicle. And so you're looking at yourself and you're looking at your past almost entirely and a tiny little bit at your future. You have to swap that out and have a big windshield and a tiny rearview mirror. That's the way it was designed for a reason. You can't move forward by looking backwards. And then you just go, okay, well, where am I trying to get to? I want to get this book finished, or I want to get the book out, or I want to get the workshop out, or and I want to make that six figures, whatever it is. Great. Okay, now I just took an action and I fell on my face. Or I'm afraid, but where am I going? I'm going there, right? Yes. If I just stay here, will I get there? No. Um, and then you take an action and then you stumble and you land on your knee. And then you look at what you're doing and you assess, okay, what's working, what's not. It's a natural process that can be learned, but it will not be learned and you will not develop if you don't keep falling forward. And again, it's hard, but you can do it. And no matter what you're feeling, sad, mad, depressed, anxious, tired, unworthy, you know how many times I show up to things and I'm empty and I have nothing to say, and then the channel opens. You know how many times I
I don't think so. Oh, well, okay. I
a
get you.
lot. You know how many times? Ask my wife how many
I had never
times.
noticed you didn't have something to say.
That's right, because once I start talking. But my wife, I've turned to her many nights and been like, I don't know why anybody listens to me. I feel like such a failure. And so I can do that without losing myself in it because I'm watching as I'm sharing, I'm not getting lost
Hmm.
down a well, but I feel all of those same feelings a lot, people. And I've worked harder than ever lately and had more rejections by breakfast than most people have in a lifetime. And so I know what that feels like. And I also know if you keep going, you'll keep growing and you'll
Yeah.
keep learning and you can get it through. But stop looking at your emotions to tell you what you should or shouldn't do because they're lying to you if they're telling you to stop.
Yeah. Yeah. We gotta just
Okay.
keep. Yeah. I've painted these clouds over like 50 times, I swear, in the last 4 months. But
Little
it's
perfectionist there.
uh,
They look amazing though, man. I love your art. It's so
thank you.
amazing.
It's just, I'll be here and I'll go, oh, that little, I think I could extend that. But it's better than just, I mean, I do like the AI graphics, I do. Um,
Yeah, you could
but
take a
it's all
picture of
about
that.
speed.
You can also take pictures of all your art and train it on your style, and then
Uh,
and then it can give you ideas for new pieces in the series and stuff.
I gave it yesterday and I was like, look at my painting. And it goes, oh, it's luminous. And that's not
You're
beginner work.
legendary. Van Gogh had nothing on you.
That's right. Well, actually, a real human being said, that's just like, kind of like Georgia O'Keeffe. I'm like, okay,
It's
I'll
got,
take it.
it definitely has, you have like Georgia, a little Georgia O'Keeffe, a little Van Gogh, a little bit of that German expressionist. He does, what's his name?
Munch.
Is it Monk? Yeah, there could be a little bit of Monk. There's another one too. But yeah, it's beautiful. You're an amazing artist and an
Thank
amazing
you.
singer, and people are very fortunate to have you in this have this community with you. And
Thanks.
it's been my real joy to hang out with you today, Julia, and always.
Thank you. Thanks, Derek.
From one grumpy Grinch, one grumpy wizard to another. I
Yeah.
really love you, my dear. You're doing good
Love
work.
you too, Derek. Thanks a lot. And we'll get this out to as many people as we can.
All right.
Okay. My thing won't send hearts out. Yours will. There we go. All
Watch this.
right.
This is fun. This is on my grumpier days. This is what I do. Watch.
Oh, that's
See,
what the mother
technology can be
beaver.
fun, people.
It's
All
fun.
right. Take care,
All right.
everybody.
Thanks, Derek.
You're welcome, my dear. I
Bye.
love you.
Love you too. Bye bye.
Bye.